now, and we'll get ready. We are off to the races. Can everyone see the title screen? Excellent.
Yes, we can.
All right. Thank you, Ben. So, social media, what is it? These are websites where folks can connect, whether they are people, whether they're businesses or organizations. They're able to share their ideas and information, whether it's about their lives, their products, or upcoming events. And so we will, in this presentation, we'll walk through the 4 major platforms. We'll start with LinkedIn. We'll move to Facebook and Instagram, and then we'll end on X, formerly Twitter. Each of these has a large user base and established advertising methods for businesses to take advantage of, and we'll go over those. After we've looked at the platforms, and I've shown how and why your business should use them in your marketing strategy, I'll talk about advertising and the pricing, and then why it might be a good idea. And then finally, we can walk through doing a post together if there's time or a desire for that. So before we get into the social medias themselves, I'll be talking a lot about these different terms that'll pop up as you use social media. First main one is tagging. This is essentially just saying you're going to connect yourself to another person or community. And to tag yourself to another person or profile, that's using the @ symbol. So for example, if you were going to connect with our social media, you would tag the New Market Bid by typing the @ symbol and then our sort of username on that profile. So this would be @ New Market Bid would connect you to our Instagram profile. Using the hashtag, which is the # symbol, this is to connect your post to ideas or communities. So if you are posting on behalf of a restaurant, you want to be connected in other ways to other restaurants, you would have in your post #restaurant, and that would just kind of in general connect you to that. And so I throw these up here at first because as we move along, you'll sort of see the different ways, and I'll be using these different terms. Right. First social media we're highlighting today is the LinkedIn because it is the best social media for business to business connection. The draw of this platform is that you are with other businesses. So if you are looking to create a business profile for, say, the Greater Boston Food Bank, it would be a great way to connect with other business profiles or other working professionals. It is a great way to expand your business visibility with other businesses, build your brand recognition, and kind of stay in the loop on like industry trends. The demographic of LinkedIn is mostly working professionals, folks in the age of 25 to 34. They make up about 60% of the users. And so targeting towards this user base, you would know that these folks are either in jobs or looking for jobs. These are folks who are just kind of in the workforce. So if that's something you're trying to target, this is a great place to do that. Again, business to business is also another way to connect with folks on LinkedIn. Folks have said you were on Facebook. I know, Sue, you mentioned that LinkedIn itself is structured like Facebook. So it's typically used to update other users about this first example is business or achievements. And so content here posts typically about awards or ceremonies, updates on sort of ways that you're making an impact on the community. Another way is posting on articles or responding to articles and long information posts. In this example, this is an organization responding to industry trends. And then another great way is to update people on how your brand changes. In this example, you can see Olipop moved from one sort of busier to another maybe more stylized version. And so it's just you're able to say to other businesses, this is who I am. Another a great way to use LinkedIn business to business is saying, for example, that you bought a company. Making that announcement on LinkedIn makes a lot of sense because people might have been connected to that business. And now they know to look to you for that business. So why are we using LinkedIn? I'm highlighting this because it is first and foremost where you want to make the most business connections. It's an excellent way to connect to other people who are in the industry, and you're able to build your brand alongside others that are building their brand on LinkedIn. For advertising, while it might not have uh, the greatest number of users like Facebook does, the people who would be reached on LinkedIn are more likely to be people who would engage with your products and services. Additionally, the ads on LinkedIn are really flexible and fit to your business brand, your style, and desired engagement. And so this picture shows you have 4 different ways to do advertising. And so it really allows you to test out what makes sense for you on LinkedIn. Before we move on to the next social media, are there any questions related to LinkedIn before we keep going? All right, hearing none, we will move on to Facebook. This platform is the most popular platform in the US and worldwide. That's why we're highlighting it next, is because once you dive into Facebook, you're diving into a billion people who could potentially be reached. Though I would suggest a more targeted way than a blanket billion people. As we mentioned, it's the most popular and prevalent social media. It's owned by the parent company Meta, and Facebook is used to share your life updates, your thoughts and opinions about things, and just in general, your photos and videos. It's useful in reaching that wide audience of users, especially to highlight any changes to your business or highlight upcoming events. For example, we had a change in our Andrew Shuttle bus route, and so we made sure to highlight that on our Facebook page, both with the text of information and pictures relating to that change. The user base of Facebook is a little bit more spread out across the ages, while the highest that we can see on this graph is 25 to 34. Over or nearly 60%, excuse me, are older than 35. And so Facebook definitely has a wider spread of ages with um, perhaps a more older audience um, that is compared to the other social media platforms we'll be talking about. Um, Despite it being so large, Facebook is able to create smaller communities. Um, it's developed an excellent way to connect across distances and industries, and it unites people through these groups. And they can be made for a whole host of reasons, whether it's the moms who cook, maybe they share recipes, folks who are excited about trains, and even our local South End Community Board um, has a Facebook group. And so with these groups, there becomes a shared identity that offers this online community and space to share with others on topics related to that group. And so as businesses, you'll want to find those groups that are aligned with your products and services and location, or just as an individual. If you're really craving that kind of community, this is a great space to sort of find local areas or people who are interested in local things, um, local interests that might align with your own. So you're able to sort of build yourself up as a business with a core set of people who are part of that group who might engage with you more regularly, and become sort of brand enthusiasts for you. And so it's an excellent way to build that sort of grassroots community from Facebook. I've talked a little bit about this. Facebook is the largest user base And it is why incorporating it into your marketing strategy makes makes the case pretty easy to make because it's just such a wide range of people. And the sheer number of people who use it makes for this extremely rich audience for you and your business to tap into to build your brand and to just kind of get the word out, just be visible by having a Facebook page. The second reason why I find Facebook an excellent tool for marketing is this calendar function, this planner. You're able to plan posts and ads through this. And so you can maintain a schedule. You can set everything out for the week, for the month, however long you want or need to. And you are able to sort of maintain that steady presence. You're able to gain insights. You're able to see tips and tricks from the integrated support tools on Facebook. And so it makes a difference using this tool. And is why I would highly suggest starting with Facebook because they make it so easy. It integrates well, in addition, not just with itself, but it also integrates well with Instagram. Instagram and Facebook are owned by the same parent company, and so you're able to cross-post. You're able to do the same ad or the same post on Instagram onto Facebook or on Facebook onto Instagram. And so it really streamlines the time it takes to make the posts. You're not having to go into several different websites at a time. You can do it all kind of just in one place. Another place that you can advertise on Facebook is in the Facebook Marketplace. This is another kind of like sub community of the Facebook online community, and it's where people go to buy and to sell, whether it's from your garage sale or like you can see here, sort of miscellaneous items. There are places for sponsored ads, and that's on the far left. So if you, for example, are um, Uber Eats, you might be putting your sponsored ad near where food or kitchen items are being sold because it's way easier to order from Uber Eats than it would be to cook something. And so you're able to sort of adjust who sees your ads through this Facebook Marketplace ad spacing. So to sum up, it has a wide audience and you can target people. It's very flexible to both your timeline and your budget and the type of advertisement you're looking for. And then not only can you schedule, but you can also go back and see the tracking on it. Excuse me, and the insights gained from how many people engaged with it, what types of ads or posts had the most traction, had the most engagement. Um, So it's just extremely helpful. Like I said, that's why Facebook is second, because it makes the most sense just as an entry point. Any questions as we move into our next social media? All right. Seeing none, and welcome to the folks who came in. We're moving on to Instagram next. This social media platform is paired up with Facebook because it is owned by the same parent company, and while wildly different in a lot of ways, they're able to connect in very easy integration, especially with cross-posting using that calendar feature I showed before. So Instagram is mainly for sharing photos and videos, where in LinkedIn and Facebook, the text of the post took the most priority. On Instagram, it is that picture that's really first in someone's feed. And then as you can see, the text kind of takes second fiddle, where the first few words are shown, but really the main event is this picture that's right up in your face. These posts that are on your page, these are photos that are permanent pictures and they'll stay on your main page. When someone looks up new market bid, it'll have these tiles on the page immediately. In addition to those posts that stay up forever, there are story posts, which are temporary timed photos or videos. These last for 24 hours, and they're highlighted at the top of the page. And so when you go, for example, to Dorchester Brewery, you'll see their profile information, and then just underneath that, there's going to be those several circles that indicate the stories, and those are updated at different times. Um, you might expect, for example, their events circle to change, but their merch might not change as often. Yes, Sue, you have a question.
Yes, here, just in terms of those stories that go every 24 hours,
Mhm.
no. So if we put a story up last week saying that you were advertising this social media event, that would stay up for 24 hours. But can you set that so that every 24 hours it resets again until the event?
Absolutely. So using that calendar function is a great way to update the stories each day. So I wouldn't have to go in every single day and repost that story. There is that integrated function of re-updating. Yeah, great question.
So if someone were going to be launching a new product or something on September 1st, they could have it so that every other day or something, it would repost the story about that.
Yes, exactly. That is exactly correct.
Thanks.
Right.
I'm gonna ask one more question.
Oh, sure.
How hard is it to post? Is that we're gonna do something at the end, I guess, that,
Yes.
yeah, because I
Yeah,
think that's part of what's daunting for people is it's one thing to look at everybody else's posts, it's another thing to post something yourself.
absolutely. Yeah, so we will have time at the end of this to go over. Um, I expect doing an Instagram post just because, like you said, Sue, it's probably the most involved and most complicated way of posting. The other ones I can also highlight, but Instagram was going to be the one that I was going to show off. Um, Great. Any questions before we move to Reels, which is another part of Instagram? All right. Uh, Similar to posts, there are Reels, which are video content only. These are much less formal. On the Dorchester Brewery page, you saw there was their events post. Like that's very, I would say more official or more formal than um, the reels that they might have up. For example, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but the third one from the right and the top, you can kind of tell it's this guy licking the stuff off of the rim of the glass. And it's just silly things that kind of endear your uh, audience to your product or to your service. So it might be people like this using your product. It might be people who see the outside of your building and are like, "Whoa, look at that cool sign that's out front." And so it's just a way to get people in the door seeing sort of, oh, people are actually enjoying this. And so this is all videos, and then posts are all pictures. Both of those are on your page for as long as you want to. Um, in this top part, I don't know if you can see my cursor again, but at the top of these captured stills, you can see that there is posts. That's your main page. That's where you'll land. And then reels, you would click on this tab at the top, and that would get you to this page. Another great use of Instagram is that it's used not just as a place to put information, but it's also now being used as a place to find information. And so it has a search function that allows folks to see curated content that sort of best fits your search criteria. So I put in best Boston restaurants, and at the time, this is what popped up. So I was able to see some great wings, some outdoor dining, oysters in this economy. And so it offers just another way for you to be visible. And so you can utilize things Like I said at the beginning, those hashtags, the things that connect you to community, you might put in best Boston restaurant in a hashtag and it might pop up when someone is searching for best Boston restaurants. So it's things like that that sort of boost your visibility just by simply adding it into your post. You're able to avoid having to pay for too much advertising, uh, and you can still drive your engagement and visibility that way. The demographics of Instagram are significantly younger than the other media platforms. So while Facebook had nearly 60% 35 and older, Instagram has over 60% under 35. And this is another reason why that coordinated approach between Instagram and Facebook is a great strategy because it takes advantage of younger and more aging demographics. Using Instagram means that you're using the third largest social media platform. Um, it has excellent integration with Facebook. It's a great place to build your brand just by existing. You can really reach a lot of people by connecting to them through those tags, through those hashtags, through getting connected with other profiles that are similar to yours or in your network. Um, it just allows a lot of flexibility in that connection. You can also use, though this is a longer and larger topic than what I have time for today, influencers on Instagram. These influencers are people who could range from millions of followers, like your Taylor Swifts or your Beyoncés, to more local followers who are closer to 1,000 to 10,000 people. And these are just essentially people or profiles on Instagram that uh, I like to call them lobbyists for your attention. They say, this is a product that I like or a service that I like, and I'm telling you, my audience, to go out and try it for yourselves. And so if that's something that you are looking for, I would highly suggest doing some research on what makes the most sense for you and your business. But like I said, not going too deeply into it. And when I send out these slides, it'll have a lot of links to be able to sort of start that process yourselves.
Sarah, I'm just gonna jump in there on that and just, something that the business improvement districts across the state have looked at, especially the downtown ones and all, because they found them to be very effective as well to utilize, the influencers, in getting messages across on a retail basis, so more for retail businesses.
Yes, yeah, it's typically a local user who has some good standing of followers. Um, like you said, Sue, using or going to a retail location or using a retail services product, and then saying, I really love this, and getting people to sort of jump in with that influencer on either that new trend of product that you've made, or getting excited about, say, for example, a restaurant that this person had gone to. Advertising on LinkedIn. If you're not looking to go for an influencer right away, um, you can easily take advantage of the ads manager for Instagram. Like Facebook, Instagram ads have a wide reach and capacity to target audiences. You can adjust the ads for your budget and for your timeline, and you're able to track the results. Again, all that through sort of that ads manager with the Meta business. What's particularly nice about Instagram is you can start small. You can learn what works well for your budget, for your schedule, and then build your preferences from there. So if you have a small marketing team, or if you are just on your own looking to boost visibility, you can really um, tweak it how best fits for you. Again, that might be another reason why you go with an influencer is because you just don't have the capacity to do that on your staff, and you're able to sort of work with another person who has it as their job to advertise to other people. Um, Great. Like I said, I talked about Meta Business Suite. This is sort of the landing page for it. If you are interested in doing Facebook or Instagram, this is an excellent tool and space you will fall into. Any questions before I move on to our fourth and final uh, platform? Great. Seeing none, we're going to talk about X, formerly known as Twitter. Um, It is our fourth and final, and it is useful for sort of like quick time announcements. However, it might not be the most effective option if that's not really where your business or your brand is. But it's still useful. It still has a wide user base. It just might not be as efficient or targeted as you're hoping for. It began primarily as limited text-based. I'm old enough to remember when it was like 180 characters that you could post with no pictures, and now it has completely changed and expanded into incorporating photos and videos as it's grown. If you are looking to get the most use out of Twitter, it is likely that you might need to use what's called Twitter Blue. Um, and this is a service that is, um, it basically leaps you ahead in people's timeline or the feed that they see. You're going to be highlighted more often. You're going to be uh, added to the top of people's posts. If you were to comment on something, you might pop up faster. You're going to get earlier access to different features, and it just overall immediately boosts your visibility. So if you're not looking to right away advertise on Twitter, you can get Twitter Blue and just have baked in that higher visibility than the average free user of X or Twitter. For the demographics, it is wildly focused on that sort of 18 to 34 range that has over 70% of its users. Um, I do want to add the caveat there is some dwindling in the user base simply because of the change in management a couple years ago, which has led to a sort of a tumultuous relationship between users and the owner, and between companies and the leadership. So that has some uh, give and take with using it as a platform to advertise on. If you're a business using to look to use X or formerly Twitter, uh, you might want to stick to things that are timely. For example, this food truck with multiple locations might want to update its users about where that truck's going to be in 10 minutes, or you might have a news article related to your business that went in the Boston Globe, and you want to highlight that news article and put it on your profile page and just say like, look at this great thing, we're in the news. Just because that's oftentimes what Twitter has kept up to date. People go to it sometimes for news, sometimes for these updates. Additionally, the Blue subscription will get you up there in Twitter. Like I mentioned before, it'll boost your visibility, and if you have those newsworthy articles, it's going to be just a lot more engaging. People are going to glom onto it. Using ads on Twitter is great for location-based things. This is kind of where Twitter shines the most, because I said like that food truck example, people who have X are always using their location. And so ads that are related to their location pop up. So if you're a food truck and you're in Boston, but you're moving to, uh, to Cambridge, people in Cambridge and in Boston will sort of get that notification, because that's where they are in their location service. If they're using Twitter, Twitter knows that they're there. It's also great for um, well, uh, I mentioned before, businesses and the leadership kind of had this tumultuous relationship, um, which means some businesses have left advertising on Twitter, but that means that there is sort of an open door for people to enter into. Twitter might be looking for advertising, so that might make it a better position for you or your business to take advantage of. Um, so though that there is that strained relationship, that does open the door for smaller businesses. Any questions before moving on to a couple related topics? All right, great. I am not covering TikTok today. That is because there is some ambiguousness about whether it's going to be used in the US. But I did want to at least mention it is one of the most popular and fastest growing sites for younger audiences. It is all video based. And so it's taking, sort of, I mentioned Reels and Instagram. It is just only that on this social media platform. And so it is um, something that I would be happy to cover if there's interest. But like I said, right now, not really in the scope, just because we don't know what's going on with it. Another thing that I would love to do more on, but we won't go too deep into, is using artificial intelligence in social media. Some platforms already have AI integrated, um, but they use it to help target and optimize your ad. You could use it to create ads that you could test out. So if you work with the artificial intelligence platform, you'd be able to say into it, make an ad using these keywords with this picture, and it could spit out something that could work for you and your business. And then you could ask it, okay, well, how about a video? Okay, how about just a text post? And so use it, play around with it. We're not going to go too deep into it today. Before we go straight into budget, any questions overall on social media platforms? No, great. Okay, let's get down to brass tacks, the budget. There is a wide range of data on how much you should be spending on social media marketing strategies, but on average, small businesses can spend 15% of their marketing budget, um, and industrial industry, excuse me, spend on average 1 to 3%. And so there really is that sort of wide range on your marketing budgets, how much you want or feel like you should be spending. But I will say, I don't think there is a wrong immediate answer. It's rather incumbent on you as the business to sort of try what works for your team, your budget, what you want to have come out of these campaigns, and kind of just feel it out. Um, that's why like I said, there's no wrong answer right away. But if you start beating a dead horse with the same sort of posts that just aren't getting traction, it might be time to sort of shift around. In the following slides, some terms will come up. That is the CPC, the cost per click, and the CPM, the cost per mil models. Um, Sort of the easiest way I can explain these two, the cost per click, that's the number of times your ad is like physically engaged with. People are interacting directly with it. The cost per mil, that's how many people see your ad. It's the impressions that's mentioned here. This is the social media platforms have a way of noticing when someone, is scrolling through their phone and they sort of hesitate on your ad. That would be considered an impression. And so per 1,000 ad impressions, you'll get some sort of rate related to that. So engagement versus visibility. Who's clicking, who's seeing. For LinkedIn, it has a pretty flexible cost per click model. It does allow you to set up a daily budget or a lifetime budget of the ad. So if you are setting this ad to go out for a whole month, you can say, okay, for the lifetime of this ad, I only want to spend this amount of money. And once you get through that, you might go back and see, oh my gosh, I went through my budget really quickly. This ad was pretty successful. It might make sense to put in more to keep that ad going. Or if you see that the ad just kind of doesn't really make that much engagement, then you're only spending, you know, $50 on an ad that didn't do super well. And so it allows for that kind of flexibility. So it's fairly affordable, but because of the minimum, that $10 minimum, um, it might become costly if you're not sort of uh, adjusting to what works for your engagement levels. For X or Twitter, it has this relatively inexpensive model. It might plateau at that 135 afterwards. So your engagement, your clicks, your replies, your retweets, all the ways that you engage with posts on X would cost, but it sort of has this high level and then it sort of tapers off. And so it might make sense. Um, but if you're not getting enough to get to that plateau, it might not make sense to do it as much. Again, this is why Twitter Blue, I think, is a great option because it's just that set amount a month and your visibility is just immediately promoted.
So Sierra,
Yeah.
if you're on, sorry, jumping
Oh,
in here and doing questions, sorry, should have raised my hand.
it's okay.
But if you're doing it on Twitter and you want to see, you want to test what your result is on, say I wanted to put out here about the social media 101, you could pay that, what, X amount a month, is it $5 a month to be on Twitter Blue?
It ranges. So if you're using your Apple iPhone, it's $11. If you're using like a
Give me a
Galaxy
computer.
Android phone, it's $8. And then if you're
How
using
about if
it,
I'm using my computer?
if you're using your computer, that's $7. So yeah, it's weird that it ranges like that. But you're there's definitely a lot of uh resources out there on um
But for
what
$86, for $84 a year, give or take on my
you're
computer,
boosting your visibility.
on my thing, I could throw up 20 different things onto Twitter. Well, like X, whatever, okay? And just see how that ends up.
Absolutely.
See, and they track each time, right? And all right, they track everything.
So ads are tracked, yes. If you're using Twitter Blue and you're just posting, you would have to be the one to track sort of the engagement. But you'd be able to go back and see, okay, this post had, 8 reposts and 25 likes, and however many shares. And so you just have to keep on track of it. With ads, they have an integrated tracking system. And so if you're up for keeping
Right.
track of metrics, it's a much
Mhm.
cheaper option, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm just saying, to me, that seems like an inexpensive way of seeing if Twitter works for what I'm
Absolutely.
trying to
Yeah. Yes.
do. And um, and obviously unlimited if, once you pay the $84 or, per year. Okay, I was just curious on that, and I know um Instagram and all is very different, and obviously has a greater response, but I mean, I think for people getting into the space, you can work your way up.
Yeah. Yes. So speaking of Instagram, Instagram has sort of a strange model. And when I was talking about this with Sue yesterday, it's It's odd because it's a bidding model. And so you could say, I'm going to pay this amount for this campaign, and someone might be paying more, someone would be paying less. And so an algorithm will take into account how much you've put into this ad campaign and then adjust how often you're seen in comparison to someone who might have bid more, in comparison to someone who might have bid less. And so it has these ad slots based on those amounts, but it allows you to sort of be flexible, and has varying costs, both with the cost per click and the cost per mil. So this one allows for either budget model, and you can adjust to what you would prefer. If you're a business that wants to drive traffic to your website, that's a cost per click. If you're a business that just wants to drive visibility of your product or services or of an event that might be coming up, you want people to see it, that's a cost per mil. That's people who are seeing your post. And then Facebook,
Wait a minute,
unsurprising. Oh,
wait,
yep.
go, sorry, I'm sorry to keep interrupting, but I just want to clarify. So if I'm trying to to do an ad,
Mhm.
I don't know, uh, if I say my budget is $500, is that, it, th- they then tell me how much my price per click is after I tell them what my budget is? Go ahead,
It
we'll talk about it afterwards, but I'm just curious if anybody else has questions on that.
Yeah, I would say it is important for folks to play around with it. So I it's so different for each business that it's hard to say other than this is kind of the range. So if you're
Okay,
paying 500, it might only be $1 cost per click. And that sort of is the bidding model that allows you to
okay,
choose. So it'll differ every single time. And that's why I say try it, do different things with it, see what works best for you. And if advertising isn't what you want and you just want to build your brand at first and then dip into advertising, that's something that can be further down the road. And that's why, like I said, I'm going to be sending these slides out. It'll have all of the links to these like sort of how-tos, and go a lot more in depth on that sort of nitty-gritty on what does it mean to put in $500 for a budget to Instagram or Facebook.
okay.
Um, and Facebook itself is very similar in price range to Instagram. Again, because they're so well integrated, you're going to be um, working across those two likely, with the Meta Business Suite in advertising to both of those platforms. So why do it? Why are we investing in social media marketing? Sue and I just talked about it. It's really flexible. It's going to change each time, but it makes it possible for you to drive engagement, drive traffic, drive customers to you. And it'll as long as you are actively engaged in this process, you'll see what works well and you'll be able to build on those successes to sort of build out your strategy. This isn't just oh, I'm just going to post and then let it sit. This is an active thing. You need to be investing in it, but uh, investing in it is going to bring back a lot of good things too. So I'm highlighting the 4 social media platforms that we talked about in this. This table shows the user's average cost per click, the minimum required budget, excuse me, to advertise on a platform. And then that's alongside the average conversion rate, which is the user turned customer. So someone who clicked on your ad for a handbag that has then become a customer to your organization or business selling handbags. Um, Further down the road, you can sort of take a look back at this and say, okay, where do I sit on these averages after you've run some of those campaigns? again, you may first need to sign up for these platforms to begin building your brand awareness and then dip your toe into the ads. It's up to you. Any questions on budget? I know Sue asked a couple. Are there any outstanding ones from the folks here? Great. So when considering posting, there are two questions I want you to keep in mind. First is, what are you trying to promote? Who are you trying to reach? So considering you as the business or as the user, your options for your product and services, and then who makes the most sense to advertise to. So once you kind of know those answers, you can go into the different media platforms. So for example, New Market, we are a nonprofit. We're connected to businesses in the New Market area. We promote events in this community. And so with that in mind, we want to be able to connect with other businesses. We want to be able to relate to other people of all ages in New Market. And we want to be able to inform folks in a timely way of upcoming events. And so we're going to join LinkedIn. We're going to join Instagram. We're going to be a part of Twitter and Facebook. That was the last one. We just were able to reach all those audiences. We're able to reach people with our desired outcome. We know we want to reach people in this way, and so we post to those specific ones. So we have a little under 10 minutes to do a post together. So if people still want to do that, we have time to do it. People are good to stay on.
Yeah,
Great.
I'd go ahead and do it if people have to leave, they can.
Pop off. All right.
Mhm.
I'm going to stop sharing so I can prep that. But anything while you folks are waiting for me to be ready, anything that stood out to people or made an impact, maybe was surprising. No? Okay.
Pavan, are you a resident or a business? I was just curious. I don't, might be off doing something.
That is all right. Okay. So let me go back to sharing my screen. We're gonna do an Instagram post. Just make sure sharing the right screen. Okay. Are people seeing the New Market Bid Instagram page? Excellent. Okay. First we need to log in. Excuse me. Sorry about that, everybody. This is what happens when you get kicked out of your drive. That's all right. Most folks, do you all have Instagram? Open. Yes. I'll be able to show it integrate with Facebook as well, so we can see how that works. Okay. There we go.
Mario had to check out, but
That's
he,
all right. We'll keep it recording. All right, so this is the New Market Instagram page. As you can see, we have our profile up top. We have these posts, our reels saved and tagged. This is where all of the permanent posts stay. We have, for example, event that we got to go to, a community event that we were asked to connect with. We have a great news about the MBTA approving electrification. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go into the side panel. This is where you can access a lot of the features of Instagram on your desktop. You're going to go to the create, and you have an option to do a live video. Today we're going to do a post. This allows you to upload videos and pictures. And we're going to select photo of our New Market workers. We are able to move, or we can drag it. Sorry. Can drag.
here, we're not putting that one on now, though. I mean, we're
No,
not
no,
leaving that one on there.
no, I'm gonna be just showing it as an example. So this would be it's from a while ago. This is when Atkinson Street was being cleaned up. Has photo of our guys, photos of what's moving forward with that. We would then have the option to filter it into different filters. So if we want it to be black and white, we can make it black and white. If we want it to be a little more like a Polaroid, we can make it like that. There's also ways to directly adjust. You can highlight certain things. You can do all sorts of stuff with it. It's just a very minimal photo editor, but it could help sort of keep it from being too flat. In this next part, so you can see I can keep going back and forth between different spots. So this allows you to crop it. You hit next. This allows you to do different filters on it should you want to adjust the photo. And then next, this is when you have the option to, like it just had me prompt me, you can click to tag people. So this is where you would add in, this is where you could add someone. So using the add symbol, you would add, let's say, Sue Sullivan. And Sue would pop up. We'd be able to tag Sue to this photo. You can tag another person over here. It really allows for you to sort of move around the whole picture. Then in this caption space, this is where you would write your eye-catching caption. Remember, we only saw like the first 5 words underneath the Instagram photo. So we can say, great work from our back to work crews. So proud of all we do together.
Yeah.
Then that's short, sweet. This is then where we can do those hashtags I was talking about. This will add us into certain communities. So we can do hashtag new market and do a hashtag community, hashtag workforce development. And so these, as you can see, so workforce development here, that had in a community of people who also use workforce development hashtag, nearly 170,000 other posts. So you're, by putting that hashtag, entering into a community of people, of 170,000 people who also are tagging or showing that their photo is a part of this workforce development community. So this is a great way to drive that search optimization when you are doing the searching in Instagram. So then if I were to be sharing this post, that's when you would share it. It would do its loading screen and it would share. It is also you're also able to, in this advanced setting, um, do different ways that people can access it, as well as accessibility. If you're really into making sure that people can see it and engage with it at all different levels of accessibility, you can write an alternative text to what this photo is. Um, an option. And
We have a question to in the chat,
oh,
Sierra.
oh, thank you. Yes, Pavan, please, what is your question on using artificial intelligence? If you want to come off mute, you can.
I think they asked it in chat. I think it's a question of how you can use AI in social media marketing to
Yeah.
leverage the paid marketing and all too.
Oh, I see. I was wondering if there was more specificity to it. My apologies. Yes, so using artificial intelligence in um, your media marketing can be used in several different ways. And sort of as I mentioned earlier on in the um, posting, excuse me, the presentation, using AI is already happening in social media. Facebook, Meta, they already have integrated AI into how your ad is being shown to people. Twitter, for example, uses AI to know location and pop your ads up for location based. And so it's already being used. If you yourself are using it, you might find it helpful in creating posts themselves. You might work with an AI to generate the text of a post with certain keywords. So if you really want to make sure that people see that you have um, excellent flowers at your boutique, you want to say flowers, boutique, and high quality. And you just tell a social AI platform, make me a social media post that has these keywords that's engaging or whatever. There's ways to prompt the AI to give you that kind of posting. I would not suggest using AI for images if you are trying to do product marketing. So if you have a photo of your product, you want to use the photo of your product so that people know what it is that you're advertising. Um, in terms of scheduling, you might be able to leverage AI for figuring out a good schedule. There are so many different ways to integrate AI that it's kind of an exciting part of doing social media is interacting with the algorithm and how you might be able to boost your posts in a certain way. And so that all comes with just doing a post and seeing the initial results and getting to move from there and integrating um, your own metrics into how you move forward with it. I hope that answers your question. Like I said, AI is such an expansive topic that I could do a whole other presentation on it. And so there are also links in the presentation that I'd be happy to include with using AI in social media. So that's definitely present in that resource as well. Great.
Great. Well, Sierra, thank you. The presentation's been terrific. And I'm looking forward to having it put up on our website as well.
Yes.
So
Oh,
more
yes.
people.
That's a great point. If folks need to go back to this, go to www.newmarketbid.org. This recording, hopefully, I'll figure out how to get it posted, but for sure, the slides with the resources included will be posted to our website. And you can come back to it as often as you may need. You can access it in the ways you might want. And then hopefully, If there's interest, we'll do more in this series, perhaps a social media 102 on AI and social media. So awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Sounds good.
And we'll
Thank
see
Thank you,
you,
you
Sarah.
later.
Steve. Thank
Awesome.
you. Yeah. Thanks, Pavon, for coming on. Have a good one, everyone.